I was with the program during the early phases, during Operation Warp Speed, when the Republicans were throwing money at the drug companies, tons of money, to get it out, to get the vaccine out most quick. We didn't know how bad this was going to be. It wasn't, you had to look and see if there were real warning signs, but it looked like it was safe, at least in the short term. And I was with the program. But now we've had 3 different boosters coming on, and Travis Kelce's on TV advertising the 3rd booster. There's been no randomized controlled data to support the use of those boosters. Now, that's just not okay. The FDA is approving these boosters with all the advocacy of the CDC and the experts who speak on TV saying, get the boosters. And we just don't know what the effect of the boosters is. We can go into the details of it if you want, but we don't know. I'm of a certain age, and I had a heart condition. Hopefully it's cured. I'm worried. I get the boosters, but I don't have data.
You got all 3 of them?
I got all 3 of them, but I don't have data that tells me it's okay.
Why did you get them?
I got them because the arrhythmia that I had that's now suppressed could be reactivated with COVID that went to the heart.
Arrhythmia that you had that could be reactivated that went to the heart.
Yeah.
Tell me what that means.
So I told you this story about being in the hospital.
15 months ago, yes.
Yeah, and having this arrhythmia.
You did an angio, went up, and also from the front. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I was at death's door. I mean, I made my peace. I was ready to go. And this is serious business. I'm in a different risk-benefit situation than most people are. I'm also 75. So I'm in a different risk-benefit situation. So without randomized controlled data, just with antibody data and observational data, the second booster was actually approved with antibody data. Pfizer's vaccine was approved with antibody data from 8 mice. And Moderna did much better than that. They had antibody data from 10 mice. This is the second vaccine.
We have twice the data, sir.
Well, not twice,
more.
but 25% more. Yeah. I'm telling the truth, and the FDA is letting this go on, and the CDC is picking it up. So there's no data. There's not data that it's bad. There's not data that it works. And I'm going to play my odds by getting the booster, knowing that I don't know what I'm getting. But you're young, you guys are young and healthy, and you may look at this situation and say, wait a minute, there's no data, we don't know long-term effects, we don't know if it prevents hospitalizations or serious illness, and you're not likely to get seriously ill if you get COVID, and you may decide, I'm going to pass until they get some good data out here that I can decide on.
I never got it. So I didn't get it. My wife didn't get it. Our kids didn't get it. But my dad, who's 81 today, he got the vaccine and got all the boosters. So did my nanny, who lives with us, been with us for 14 years. She's in her 60s. They chose to get it, and we totally supported them. And we ran an insurance company where we had to decide what guys wanted to do. And I said, you do what you want to do with your body. I'm healthy, and I got COVID. My wife got COVID. We all went through it. It was, the process we went through. But 70% of America's vaccinated. If you type in, Rob, what percentage of Americans are vaccinated? I want to say it's somewhere between 67 to 71% are vaccinated. You may know these numbers better than I do. Can you zoom in a little bit? What percentage of Americans are vaccinated? 70% of Americans are, give or take, vaccinated.
Right. Okay. And if you get to older folks, the percentage is higher.
Higher, right. So based on what you know now, and you, 75 years old, you said, I accept it. I made the decision. This is serious business, right? 15 months ago, this may be it for me, right? You're 73, 74 years old. So now that you know what you know, where do we go wrong? What mistakes did we make? Who should have never taken it? All the late night show forcing everybody to take it, and military being forced to retire or else. And, Bill Maher the other day is like, I took one for the team. I never wanted to take it. He had Seth MacFarlane on. He's debating him. He had Jimmy Kimmel on. He's debating him. All of these guys were forced to. So many. We had a guy that was a colonel before in the military. He got kicked out because they didn't want to take the vaccine. He's sitting here telling us the story. How many of those stories do we have to hear? Where did we go wrong when it comes down to the vaccine?
Well, let's go do the last first. It's very simple with the boosters. If we're going to have a booster campaign and we're going to recommend that Americans get it, and we're going to use public media, public service media to advertise it and try to create an imperative, you need randomized controlled trials. That's what science is. So the first booster was done on observational data from Israel. 1 out of 17 people took the booster. Israel approved the booster early, and it was a perfect situation where you could do a randomized controlled trial. It was not known whether it worked or not. Israel was first in line, and they could have easily gotten hundreds of thousands of people to go into a randomized controlled trial and could have produced data early. That's not what Pfizer did. I think it was Pfizer. What they did is they harvested data from the electronic medical records, and they compared the death rate from COVID in the people who chose to get the booster to the death rate from COVID in people who did not choose to get the booster. And they found that there was a 94% lower COVID death rate in the people who chose to get the booster. That was published in the New England Journal. It became evidence-based medicine. Everyone had to get a booster. And that was the truth, the scientific truth, and you couldn't challenge it. What came out just recently is that when you look at that same population of people, 94% fewer deaths from COVID and 94% fewer deaths from non-COVID illnesses. In other words, those people were 94% less likely to die of anything. They were healthier. You can't do an observational study because the people who choose to get a shot are different than the people who choose not to get a shot. Now, the FDA knows this well. I mean, this whole thing about hormone replacement that went crazy in the 80s and 90s, that we got it wrong, and millions of women took hormone replacement therapy, increasing their risk of breast cancer, and now it turns out dementia as well, because it was observational data. And the women who took the hormone replacement therapy were healthier because they were going to be healthier in the first place. And you could say that you could find the women who are going to be healthier by just seeing which ones chose to take hormone replacement therapy or not. So the FDA's been through this many times. They know that observational data are not reliable. I don't get it. Why the FDA does not insist on randomized controlled trials when they approve new vaccines and tell people they should get them.
So let's ask this question. Okay, so
if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.